There we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the May 26th, 2021 Bilingual SIG Contributor Experience meeting. I will be your host today, Bob Killen, one of the co-chairs of SIG Contributor Experience. Just as a general reminder for these meetings, we abide by the CNCF Code of Conduct, which essentially boils down to please be excellent to each other. And these meetings are recorded, and we'll make them available on YouTube eventually, probably sometime later this week. And with that, we can kick this right off as soon as I find the agenda myself. One sec. Okay.
Yeah, I've got stuff in there. We can skip intros because, well,
yeah. So, quick thing on the office hours and all that stuff. StreamYard is starting up an org level type account. They actually reached out to us because they saw a bunch of different IPs logging into the one account that I shared. And right now its pricing is pretty absurd. So I'll be pushing back to see what we might be able to do there. It's essentially $1,000 per user per year.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I'm just like, no.
I mean, honestly, at those prices, it would make sense for us to build our own streaming backend.
Well, it's using the single account where we can just share the passcode.
Yeah.
We have ways around it. It's not a big deal. If it was a similar price to what it is on a per user basis, that would make more sense. But
yeah.
Anyway.
The
I also don't know if they're adding more features into the group type accounts. That might be where that pay bump is. Either way, it is unreasonable for us to go for that.
Okay, but we're using a shared credential account, so we're doing that. So theoretically, I could host an office hours.
Theoretically, we'll be able to do that soon.
Okay.
I need to actually move forward with setting up the shared Kubernetes IO account and then getting some of the CNCF to pay for it and all that. It might just
desk for this.
Huh?
File service desk for this.
Yep. It was just we were when they reached out to ask us about if we wanted to try the group one, we didn't move forward with the service desk ticket one until found out a little bit more information about that. Okay. Any other questions, comments regarding office hours?
One of the other things when we get all this set up is we should probably ping the cloud native TV folks and see if they want to carry office hours.
They already are.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Rockcode and Pop got promoted to YouTube admins last week, and are moving forward with it. Both of them do have very good setups since they sort of do this stuff for a living. StreamYard will really help the rest of us that don't have a dedicated rig.
Well, my problem with the dedicated rig is needing basically a second computer that could do OBS.
Yeah.
Because I found out it conflicts with the other requirements of things I have to have installed on my machine.
Yep. Either way, they, we're moving forward. Pop and Rockcode are YouTube admins. We'll still be going for StreamYard, and that way we will cover all our bases in terms of who can stream. Any other stuff regarding office hours? Okay. We'll go over to the community meeting. Allison hosted the last one. Right now, the workaround for the calendar invite issue is to just attach an ICS file to the notification to KDev and send that out. For a little bit of background, the Kubernetes dev mailing list is too big we cannot send calendar invites to it. This is a restriction on public Google groups to prevent spamming. The end game solution is to migrate the public Google group to a Kubernetes.io owned group. But that will be large and have to be very coordinated. That's like a by end of year goal.
I mean, it could honestly be a big reset, because I have a feeling that there are probably hundreds of email accounts on KDev that are filtering because they no longer read it and really ought to not be subscribed. So we could actually do an opt-in migration where we just spent a couple months advertising where the new list was.
Yeah, potentially. The other thing is we can't actually export the mailing list right now.
All the more reason to do an opt-in migration.
Yeah, we can get it manually by walking it through, like writing a script to do it, but the UI will not let you export or view the members. Okay. Any other?
Does it make?
Sorry.
Yeah, quick question on the mailing list in the KDev. Does it make sense to make something like an audit for KDev? Probably figure out like some inactive accounts or some folks who had like zero activity, let's say in the last 5 years.
The problem is that the KDev group is also used for things like having access to certain documents like meeting notes. And so there's people who may never ever post on it, but are nevertheless members of the group for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
And there wouldn't be any good way to detect that, and we don't want to kick them off.
Yeah, makes sense.
The other thing is, and this is a VMware specific thing, for some of the people that came from Pivotal or Heptio, their email address is messed up, and they will actually show up as a couple different addresses in the mailing lists, and only one of them will actually work.
Do we want to do an audit for the Heptio addresses? Or for some other quiet companies that currently have.
We can prune some of the ones that we very much know when that migration is planned.
Because I assume it's not only the Heptio, let's say, case, but like again, like since the inception of the KDev mailing list, a couple of companies in the cloud native space have been acquired. So there have been tons of folks who may have multiple accounts.
I can tell you though, it won't amount that much to the amount of people that we have on KDev though. It's like, doing a manual audit will remove maybe like 3%. Okay. Any sort of other questions, comments regarding community meeting and all the other fun stuff? Okay, then we'll kick over to the big topic for today, and that is contributor summits. Okay. Deb.
I'm actually going to volunteer to host the July meeting.
Okay.
Since I just noticed that note, and I just got my conflicting meeting moved, so.
Nice. Good timing then.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, I'm here to see what we're all thinking about Contributor Summit in LA this year.
Okay, so we have talked like the leads and a couple other groups. They would like to move forward with hosting something. We've not sent anything out to the main Kubernetes mailing list to try and get an idea on attendance of people that could actually come. At this point, that might make more sense after June 15th, when we get the updated restrictions, or shortly, maybe towards like the end of June, so that way companies have a little bit more time to review those policies. I sort of jumped right into that information. some of the restrictions around conferences are likely to be either lifted or modified when California makes some changes regarding their COVID restrictions on June 15th. Overwhelmingly, though, people would like to have something. What that would look like, it pretty much matches up with what we had talked about last time, and that is a lot of likely unconference sessions with space to hang out. The only other thing is, like, there was overwhelming support for pushing for hybrid, so that way that there would be, you know, AV capabilities for whatever people were going to do.
Okay.
And here's where we missed that place. Was it Toronto that we were hosting stuff at university? It was one year where we actually had stuff at a university where they actually had the setup to do hybrid.
Yeah, I think that might have been before my time in the
And
Kubernetes.
SIG release was actually the only SIG that did a hybrid session. It's actually, this might have been in Europe. I think this was in Europe. Now that I
Copenhagen?
think about it, but I don't remember. Yeah, because they had these great setups where you had everybody in a U shape, and you had two cameras, one focused in the center, one fisheye, and a giant screen. It was awesome, and I doubt we'll ever find that again.
Yeah, that was Copenhagen.
Yeah.
No, Barcelona. One of those, because I was at that event.
Yeah. Okay.
At the Barcelona ones, we didn't do hybrid though. They were recorded, but
Well, we did for the release team specifically, because we had a release team session, and we did specifically, partly because 2/3 of the release team was not at the event.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure our session was the only session that took advantage of the facilities.
Okay, so you want hybrid in the way that it can stream to a virtual platform of some kind, and that you can show them on a screen and have them interact with you in some way, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although,
Worst case would be like we would have to have dedicated people essentially acting, and we're going to need this anyway.
yeah.
But have the facilitators, people to be able to call it, like, you know, hey, this person in Zoom is raising their hand. You need to give them a chance to talk.
Yeah, I think realistically, that's probably what we're going to end up doing.
Yeah. Do you know how things are shaping up for the hybrid stuff for the rest of the conference?
It will be hybrid. I think it's still being determined what the word hybrid means. And I think it will take on many meanings between now and October. So no, I don't have more information to share there right now. But.
As a note, I would not, like, if we did wind up with a room that was more like, hello, everyone, like, you know, a big sort of main room, I would not expect hybrid there. Streaming to the people attending, yes.
Yeah.
But not any sort of two-way.
Okay.
It feels like even for that, we could do streaming plus chat with dedicated facilitators.
Yeah, but I think we could get away with, like, you know, if people are, say, sitting in the Computer Summit Slack channel and people asking questions there. I don't know if we need to invest in dedicated hardware for that.
Yeah. So in terms of space then, if we're doing unconference sessions, and do you want a big welcome, you know, kind of room hangout? Is that where you're picturing the hangout space?
I think so. What we might do is say we have a larger room with more widely spaced rounds where people could, you know, we might still have a stage and all that for do that sort of thing, but that would give people a space to just, like, if they did want to hang out or chill or talk about something, they could.
Okay.
With the reserved unconference type rooms being the smaller, more meeting room type things.
Yeah.
If it's at all possible.
Yeah. How many of those would you like? And on what days? Right now we have space set aside on Monday and Tuesday. Are you thinking it's going to be both days? So Tuesday is actual day 0. So that's when all the other colos take place.
That would be a good argument for Monday.
And so the only thing would be it's so hard because we don't have a lot of info. I would personally like Monday, so that other people can go to the other co-located events, because I know a lot of them will have other responsibilities. But I also don't know how many people will actually be flying in early enough to be able to attend that. I hate to say, is there any way to get more time, but would be able to like push out like even a couple weeks to try and get an idea of when people might be able to attend this sort of thing?
Well, I mean, I think the easier thing to do is going to be to give Deb a number of rooms and then release them if attendance looks low.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, let's start with that. So how many rooms are you thinking besides the welcome room that you would like?
Honestly, if we're doing pure unconference, I would say 2 to 3.
Maybe 4, with the 4th mainly being our room to stash stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if worst case, if we do have more than enough people there, then the 4th room becomes an additional, space people can use, and we just kind of like, we figure something out.
Okay. It's a flexible room.
Flex room.
Although, is Docs doing Monday or Tuesday?
Docs requested space on Monday.
Okay. The other thing, I
Were
don't
they
know.
included in your room count? Sorry.
They were not in my room count off
Okay.
the top of my, like originally.
Okay, so we'll add another room for Docs.
Yep.
Great.
As a note, they will probably want hybrid capability as well.
Okay. We'll plan to have hybrid capabilities in all of them just in case.
Okay. Do you know what things might be like for a potential social event?
Yeah, I can look at options. Like you said, they're lifting restrictions June 15th, and they're actually, I'm trying to remember the date, they're actually looking at relifting them again a few months after that. So a lot of things are going to change between now and then, but we do have the options for social events. Like they're not off the table currently based on the restrictions we've received. So if that's something you're interested, we can look into it.
Yeah, I would definitely go for, like, social is going to be the focus of this event.
Okay.
Every person that I've talked to, not necessarily the social event, but like every single person I've talked to has just been like, I just want to see people. I don't want to like,
yeah,
or that's what they miss.
Okay, so we'll make ways for folks to socialize throughout.
Yeah. If we can do a sort of party get together type thing, awesome.
Okay. Would you prefer that Monday or Tuesday night then?
I'm thinking Monday night.
Monday night.
So that way it's just like we do the day of talking and everything. We then have the social event. That also means if people couldn't necessarily attend some of the earlier sessions, they might be able to attend the social.
Yeah. That works. Okay, we'll start to look for a venue for that, and also just verify with the venues we reach out to what their restrictions will be for us. So I can share this back with you all.
Yeah. I mean, so for you, Deb, I would say realistically, we won't have a good handle on what numbers are going to look like until really the beginning of August. Because the reason why, like, for example, I know my company does not plan to update their COVID travel guidance until the beginning of July.
Yeah. Mine is like it is possible, but it requires approval.
Yeah.
Got it. If I reserve this space, you won't need more because I can't build extra rooms. we can give up rooms later,
Yeah.
but I cannot build additional
yeah.
rooms if we say we're using this space and we need more. Are we
Right.
good based on the space that you've requested?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. That's fine. The numbers can come in August. That's fine too. If we can get it around that time, say maybe like mid-July, end of July, kind of put a poll out and see what folks are thinking, that'd be great. And then we can talk about registration and things like that around then too.
Yeah. And we can still send something out like, ahead of time, survey wise, just like, do you plan to attend, if your company allows it, if like, if you can do it yourself, to try and get at least a ballpark idea on potential, not like try and find the ceiling of potential people.
That'd be great. Would you like me to put together some questions for that and send it over so you can send it out?
If you want to, go for it.
Okay.
So now it's been Josh, myself, and Deb doing a lot of the talking. What is everyone's else sort of thoughts on this as things are sort of shaping up?
Sounds hard. That was my thought throughout that whole conversation.
Yeah, a little bit unpredictable, but yeah, looking forward to see you all. So hopefully we'll be able to make it in person.
Oh, and we do still plan to do a virtual contributor celebration. That's going to happen no matter what, because we know there's going to be lots of travel restrictions. Time frame for that will still be after the last release of the year.
This is like the separate, like the completely separate event from the LA planned one, right?
Yes, 100%. Some outstanding questions would be if we want to do the awards at the in-person one or at the virtual one, but that isn't necessarily something we have to, solve now.
If we plan to do something, like if we plan to do the full virtual celebration later the year, and there will be a higher chance that people will be able to attend it versus the in-person one. So I would rather prefer making the awards at the virtual one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Similarly
although
we did have a lot of problems with shipping this year.
I was going to say, if we can decide who the recipients are ahead of, but then that means keeping things secret for like 2 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because like my thinking about it is, if we could decide who the recipients were in advance of KubeCon LA, at least for the people who were at KubeCon LA, we could hand deliver stuff. But
the other thing with it being in October, that's still like omitting a good chunk of the last release cycle where you might want to.
Yeah, you might want to. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
So the
we could give them out at KubeCon Europe in the spring too.
That's too late.
A while.
Yeah.
it's just like I'd like to make trophies again, but particularly for anything ceramic, shipping is challenging. That's why we didn't do it last year.
Can you remind me, was it something that CNCF has been shipping to you, or like to the folks, or that was something like
Deb? I'll let you talk, Deb.
It was I think they're called star charts or something. It was based on when Kubernetes was created back in Seattle and the star chart of that night. So we had a vendor, but just shipping. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and was it our vendor, Deb? Was it Drew or?
No, it was a vendor that specializes in this.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm asking,
you're gonna run into shipping issues. I mean, a lot of it had to do with pandemic in the first place, because we couldn't even ship to India. No one can ship to India. But you're gonna run into a lot of shipping restrictions from that, but also things like tariffs and shipping taxes that a lot of people got hit with, that the vendors can't pay for, the recipient has to pay for, things like that. So just shipping in general gets difficult when you go to that many regions.
Yeah, get it. Because the reason why I'm asking, like we'll all be surprised by the recent shipments made by by Drew, by our vendor. So like that have been made right before KubeCon, and they've been delivered like almost immediately to most of our recipients late April. So just curious, probably something can be different and better this year.
It's honestly different from week to week. Like I just went through a thing where we couldn't ship to India for 3 weeks because of what's going on there.
Yeah.
You know, because I keep track of all of our project swag for Red Hat Cloud Native projects, and I will tell you, the logistics team every week sends me an email telling me the places they can't ship to.
On the week-to-week thing too, is just like, so we even had some people in Canada that didn't receive theirs because they didn't get the notice that they had to pay the tariff or whatever it was on it till it already got sent back.
I will say, speaking as somebody who has a side small business, bizarrely, Canada is one of the hardest places to ship to from the US. It is easier for me to ship something to Italy than it is to ship it to Canada.
Yeah. We had
quick question about the virtual celebration. Probably we can do it before the face-to-face one, and basically we can we can identify the list of nominees right before, like identify and publicize it right before the face-to-face event. And
honestly, trying to plan 2 events like that at the same time is not going it takes a lot of effort to run one of the virtual events. And the other thing too is just like we want to do it to have it sort of be the capstone of the year after the last release where people don't have responsibilities.
Yeah,
that's sort of like, they aren't having to worry about any deadlines. They can chill.
Yeah. In this case, I'll definitely vote for making the awards at the last and fully virtual event. I hope that by that point of time we'll be able to figure out the shipping situation. But like this event will be a little bit more relaxing by the end of the year, and definitely way more inclusive and accessible for folks around the globe for various reasons. Just my 2 cents.
Okay. So at this point, is there any other contributors who want stuff to discuss at this point in time? Deb, is there anything else that you need from us?
No, I'm good to go for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Those were a great idea, the star charts.
That was all George. You did awesome there.
Yeah. It's honestly been great seeing it in the background of everyone, like when they hop in the calls and it's just like showing up on the wall behind them.
I usually have it right above me, but I take it down sometimes when I'm recording. So, and I was recording yesterday.
Okay. Then I think here we'll call it for the contributor summit stuff and move on to the next things.
All right. I'm out then. Bye, y'all.
Later, Deb. Oh, whoops. So we're off to mentoring with Meet Our Contributors. I don't see Paris here, but I think the general status is we are still looking like the same thing for office hours is StreamYard will help with that. Ihor, any updates regarding, all the fun LF mentoring activities?
Yeah, so with Google Storm of Code, we've just completed our selection last week. I don't recall, so right now I will not speak about Kubernetes specifically, but we had some good numbers with Kubernetes, but in general, CNCF has received 17 slots this year, and obviously, like a good number of them is filled out by the Kubernetes related projects. The same story with LFX. Right now, LFX summer cycle is upcoming. So the official starting date is June 1st for the summer cycle of LFX. And we also had a few projects for specifically focused on Kubernetes, and all of them have received slots, and they're currently selecting their mentees. We'll also have, also like on the LFX side, May 31st is the final date for the sprint cycle. So hopefully all of our mentees who are currently participating in this cycle will graduate from this program. Kubernetes is participating as well.
Awesome. Also, sorry about that. My dog somehow got a fork. It was chewing on that.
Not a Git fork, right?
No. Okay.
The new contributor workshop, I can actually report on that. Allison's got a number of PRs open to stub out the different documents that we need. Once we open that, we're going to look at some rearrangement of the content, but it's to all get it into the contributor website in a reasonable structure.
The goal is to have the workshop complete by the essentially by KubeCon LA.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay. I don't have any community management updates. I do have an update on DevStats. So I think it was late last week. DevStats, all the boards have been updated and now include per repo and per SIG dropdowns. There's a couple that still need to be like refined because they weren't doing it by the SIG, the SIG label. But there's significantly more there, and now like all sub projects can get their own information. Steering has been talking about potentially sort of like automating, inserting some of the charts for the annual reports. The other sort of longer term follow-up item for us is we will want to sort of try and look at the charts that are available and pick out what ones we want to potentially annotate and tell people like how to use, and then put them on the Kubernetes contributor site. So like telling people what this actually means and how to interpret the data there instead of in the like the little notes at the bottom of each Grafana page. Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments about that? Okay. Marketing.
I don't know how much of updates I have. I know that I missed the last meeting of our group, and Matt was also out for it. But I know that we're talking to the CNCF-DB folks that was mentioned earlier. We'll probably have some conversation with them this Friday during our meeting. And then the annual report summary, which Paris was mentioning, I'm trying to keep an eye on that and make sure that we're
It's like 20
ready
pages
for those
already.
comms. Oh, goody. Okay. So I think Paris was on the last call actually that we all like missed to tell us about that. So just trying to keep an eye on that.
Yeah, the CNCF is going to put like, we're going to feed them what we have in terms of markdown, and they're going to make a nice little pretty report.
Okay. So we'll try to keep an eye on that.
Okay. Any questions, comments for marketing?
I guess the only other thing I could mention is the developer story blogs. We're still working on those.
Yep. Okay. That'll take us to docs. I don't have any updates here this week. Does anyone else have any updates regarding contributor docs?
Just NCW stuff, and we already covered that.
Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and strike that one from there. And that will take us to GitHub management. So I do have something to report here. The CNCF is confident now in their new CLA, Easy CLA, and they want to roll that out to Kubernetes fairly soon. We're still working on a plan to how to test and roll that out. What we will do at a minimum is push it out during a low volume time, so like after code freeze, and verify at a minimum that all our Kubernetes org members exist in both systems correctly, to try and minimize if there is anyone missing a CLA, the impact is small. But expect some more to come up regarding that soon-ish.
Is GitHub management something like I can get started with as a new contributor? Because I was planning to attend the meeting tomorrow. So just wanted to know if it would be any. Do you have something I could work on that side?
I know there's a couple smaller things we were looking at. For the most part, GitHub I'm not trying to deter you from it, but a lot of it is more like the higher level admin side of like when GitHub rolls out a new feature, what we have to do, or like when GitHub decides to change RBAC and totally mess up our permissions, how we respond to that sort of thing. But the right people to talk to will be at that meeting tomorrow, assuming they show up. That's the right one to join. Okay. Any questions, comments regarding GitHub management? Okay. Slack infra. I don't think. Oh, there is an update for this that we should actually do something about, and that is the GitHub, or not GitHub. The Slack officially has real pronoun fields now.
Real what?
Pronoun fields now. So
Oh, right.
We should actually probably just pull the trigger on enabling that.
Yep. Yes. You want me to do that?
If you want to, we should just ping these other Slack admins to like say, hey, we're flipping the bit on this.
We already discussed it on private, so
Okay.
It's just nobody actually did anything about it.
Okay. I'm probably missed that combo.
Yeah,
Sorry
and I
about that.
also want to make an announcement, since we had our own custom pronoun field. I also want to make an announcement that people can.
You're
should
deprecating our
migrate their
pronoun field
choice.
for the official Slack pronoun field.
Yeah, because there's no way. We actually looked to see if there was any way that we could transfer, short of writing our own custom Slack plugin, and the answer was no.
Yeah.
So, and it's really not worth the effort to do that. So.
Caslin, did you have something to say?
I was just going to say, I remembered contributor comms tweeting about that before. So I guess that was the custom one. And now we're going to have an official one. So maybe an updated tweet for that.
Yeah, I can probably just respond to the tweet or something like, hey, it's now Slack rolled out their Slack did something good, and now has their own field for this.
Just retweet the old one and be like,
Yeah.
update.
Okay.
So.
Any other Slack comments? Okay. That takes us to open mic. Does anyone have any other things they want to talk about in the last 15 minutes of the meeting?
Just want to make sure the LWKD migration is just waiting on round to it. Yes.
Sorry. What'd you say?
LWKD migration is just waiting on round to it. Yeah.
Yes, I believe so. Was the trademark thing? I think.
Yes, it was resolved.
Yeah, then it's just waiting on honestly me or Nikita to I think handle the migration. I think we're that's something we should be able to do pretty easily now.
Okay.
I'm sorry it's taken so long to get the,
Well, it's not exactly high priority.
yeah.
Yeah, for me and Noah, it's a little annoying because one of the things that's waiting on this migration is moving off of MailChimp. Because some of our other options require paying a fee, even if it's a fairly nominal one.
Okay. Is there for one of the other options that you want to use, should we file a CNCF funding ticket?
Yeah, probably we should.
So we can probably square that away.
Okay. Yeah, it felt weird to file the ticket before it was officially part of Kubernetes.
I think we can start it now.
Okay.
Might as well start the conversation.
Okay.
We have the open issue saying it's being migrated, so.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any other open discussion items?
So Bob, in the last meeting, you mentioned that like there might be a Golang related issue I could contribute to. So I like went finding it. Is this the one you were referring to?
Probably, one sec. Yes, that was the, so that would not only help the contributor site, but that would also help docs because they want to do something similar. Because we are now starting to ingest content from other places. And to do that, we have to do a lot of like, well, right now it's regular expressions to strip the content out and do it correctly. And that breaks a lot of stuff in code comment boxes.
Yeah, so I was reading it, like I don't know most of the stuff surrounding it. So is there someone like who could help me get started on the technical side of things? Because I think like it's using Hugo or something which I'm not familiar with at all.
Yep. So the web, yeah, we can follow up on this one either immediately after this call, before next call in 10 minutes, or like
We'll
up in
follow
Slack
up
or something.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's too late for me also now.
Sorry.
No problem.
By the way, like I'm Eastern time. I wake up super early, so feel free to ping me like early morning Eastern time.
Sure, I'll ping you on the Slack channel. Okay, cool.
Okay.
That's all I wanted to ask.
So I think that's it for today. Well, that at least stop the recording. And thanks everyone.